Let's say for the sake of discussion, a married couple agrees they need something practical, something 3 rows. Yet the nerd side of the couple, nothing fancy, nothing with a badge. The free spirit side of the couple, more of a car guy. What are they supposed to do? Well, how about selling the nerd on the idea of a 3-row crossover with a pickup truck propulsion system? Okay, so that concept may work in the Ford world, but how does it apply to the Toyota world? You see, this is a Toyota Highlander, but not a Toyota Highlander like you and I have seen before. It is a longer Toyota Highlander. They call it the Grand Highlander, and specifically, they are adding more space back here to package more people and more dogs. But this, like other Highlanders, is on offer in 3 different flavors. There's a 2.4 turbo front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Then, of course, this being Toyota, there has to be a hybrid. Yes, it's a parallel hybrid like the Prius. The basis of this system is a 2.5 Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder. And yes, it's on offer as front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. However, unlike the 2.4 turbo that has a drive shaft, this has an electronic all-wheel drive, meaning there's an electric motor in the back. It is not connected to the front engine. Then there's this one. This is also a hybrid. However, they call this one the Hybrid Max. And this is where we get into the pickup truck propulsion system. Remember Mike Swears and the Toyota Tundra, where they put an integrated starter generator motor between the 3.5 turbocharged V6 and the 10-speed automatic? Well, they took that idea and applied it to an engine that goes this way. So they start with that 2.4 turbo, but then they add the integrated starter generator motor, and then they put the transmission on the other side of that. And the concept is to add torque fill. So instead of it being like a hybrid for efficiency, it's a hybrid for, believe it or not, in the Highlander world, performance. And in the case of performance, they're somewhat respectable. This is a big vehicle. It is a 3-row crossover, and it does 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. But really, the currency of a vehicle like this is the fuel efficiency. And the basic one, it's an average of 24. Then the hybrid's an average of 34, so a big jump, again, for this size vehicle. But the performance one, that one takes a bit of a hit. 26, 27, 27. Now, yes, I am somewhat sandbagging you, because if we're honest with one another, practicality for a vehicle like this is less fuel efficiency and more usability. Think towing. Now this, it's not trying to be a full-size pickup, but it does have 3,500 pounds of towing in that parallel hybrid, the one like the Prius, and then the basic 2.4 turbo, and this, the one we're driving, the Hybrid Max, 5,000 pounds of towing. With that, this is not exactly lightweight. It's close to a battery electric vehicle. 4,930 pounds, or depending on express your weights and measures, 2,231 kilograms. Now, an important point of information, that is 620 pounds heavier than if this were a front-wheel drive 2.4 turbo with no electric motor. With that, sport mode. Oh yeah, the Max makes a difference. And it's not just that it's quicker. We talked about the 0 to 60 time. Actually, let's slow down here because you don't want to be speeding in Hawaii. They don't have unmarked cars here. The police use personal cars. They get reimbursed for it. They put a small blue light at the top. With that, the Max system here, it's very much like in the Crown. It changes the personality of the power delivery here. Yeah, it's quicker. Now, a big part of that is it working in conjunction with a totally different transmission. So in the base car, it's a torque converter automatic. In the hybrid, it's a CVT. And in this, there is a 6-speed, so it's 2 less gears, but this uses a single wet clutch. It feels, I don't want to say precise, it feels different. What exactly do I mean when I say different? Well, this, it's not at all in the same realm of like a Palisade, a Telluride, where it's just a nondescript V6 that's not really efficient. But it's not to the level of, say, that CX-90 with the inline-6 on a rear-wheel drive base platform. And it's definitely something totally separate in that it doesn't feel like it's a truck like that of a Tahoe. So putting the pickup truck propulsion system aside, This, I think we all understand, is about practicality, but here it's a different kind of practicality. When we think of these types of vehicles, we usually think about here, between the front and rear wheels. That's the wheelbase. That's where you package a lot of people and a lot of dogs. This was a different mission. Here they wanted to spend a lot of focus on this space where you can package more people in the third row. And I would argue, more importantly, is cargo. This is unusually good, better than that CX-90 we just recently drove. So if I were to put both rows in the back down, it would be about 90 cubic feet of storage. If I were to put just this down, it would be about 60 cubic feet of storage. Then back here behind the third row, it's still respectable. I would argue probably better than the Sequoia at about 20 cubic feet of storage. And now for you masochists out there who want to see me turn my legs into some sort of game of origami, we already pulled that trick with the third row in Chicago. And shockingly, it actually worked out really well. A 6-footer could fit back there. There was an interesting trick with a console. It's not the usual thing you see there where it turns into an armrest. The armrest is part of the captain's chairs in this case, and it's a little bit deeper, and you could put 2 different phones in there. I don't know if I like it or don't like it. For those of you that are practical and need a vehicle like this, let me know if this interpretation of a center console for these types of vehicles is a positive way forward, or it should be chucked in the trash and go back to the one that's tall with an armrest built into it. So as the road becomes a bit more challenging, let's you and I have a discussion about driving dynamics, which in this case is really about ride quality. And there are 2 things that absolutely smack you in the face immediately. Number 1, the extra length, and number 2, the extra weight. And I would say that second one you notice more. And this, combined with the power delivery, the ride quality is very good, better than most that you get out there. Like this, significantly better than, say, a Ford Explorer. However, when you get up to speeds, or if you're really darting in and out of traffic, you notice that extra weight and the length combining to get a little bit more sway high in the vehicle. Now, I fully appreciate one can't understand the size of this thing looking at it on camera. So a point of reference, 2 vehicles most people have seen in the wild. Ford Explorer, this is about 3 inches longer, and a Tahoe, this is about 10 inches shorter. Put another way, on a driving dynamic spectrum, or really a ride quality spectrum, there is the Hyundai and the Kia over here, the Telluride and the Palisade. And then I would now say the new king is the CX-90. Granted, in terms of like size and packaging, there's no comparison between this and the CX-90. One can put way more people and dogs in this, far more comfortably than the CX-90. But just in terms of ride quality, the CX-90's up here. This sits smack dab in the middle. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game on the options game with today's contestant, the most practical flavor of the most practical vehicle from a practical car company. This, the Toyota Grand Highlander, for a base price of $43,070. Now, I'm kind of sandbagging you here because that's the most basic one. Now, that brings us to a rather prudent question. How much is the car you and I are driving today, which is the hybrid that has the personality? That is $54,040. Now, huge hint advice, it only comes on offer as all-wheel drive, which brings us to another obvious question. How much was that parallel hybrid, the one that's kind of like the Prius? That is a lot cheaper at $44,670, but that one can be had as front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Then, this being a Toyota, there's like the good, better, best strategy. And that's where we get to a bit of a surprise, because the basic one, the XLE, is really not all that basic. It comes fitted with 18-inch wheels, 12.3-inch center screen, heated and electric front seats. Then there's the Limited, which is kind of the middle model that adds the 20-inch wheels, leather seats, vented front seats, heated rear seats. Then there's this one. This is the fancy one, the Platinum. It adds the panoramic sunroof, the multi-terrain control. So it's not really a trail hunter Tacoma that's an overlanding rig. It's to go to places like this, the Trailhead. That is about it, even with the multi-terrain control. Then it rounds out the whole fanciness with vented seats in the back, and then something I'm a sucker for, the head-up display, and then, believe it or not, one of those digital rear-view mirrors. That all does not come cheaply. It is $58,125 for this, the Platinum Hybrid Max. There are no options that can be fitted to this, so the only thing we pay extra for is $1,335 for destination from the exotic locale of Princeton, not New Jersey, Indiana, which is where they also make the Sienna, which brings us to a total retail price of $59,460. Now, as you and I get closer to the interior of the island, let's discuss the interior of the vehicle. Now, you may remember in the tech review from Chicago, we did spend some time focusing on this, and basically what we have here is Toyota design kind of updated. There are still some big chunky knobs, toggle switches, which contribute to safety, and I think make the design look good. Now, in terms of tactile feel, I kind of refrained from discussing that in Chicago because that was a very, very early pre-production prototype. This is still an early production unit, but overall the build quality is kind of what you'd expect from a Toyota. But what they're trying to do now is they're trying to add some pageantry to it. Like, look at the trim here, which in the Porsche world that would be called neodyme. I would call that bronze in the Toyota world. And it's not just the trim on the dash, they have it on the seats as well. Now, the thing is, if you're going to go to the extent of putting this here, which is a nice touch, how about dressing this up a little bit? Not just a sea of black plastic here, although it is like a satin finish black plastic, so it's not like in-your-face, chintzy stuff like you would see in a Traverse. Then a huge note here. I wanted to shoot the red car because they call them retail red. On camera, for the thumbnail, you want the red car. But I didn't know the red car had the black interior. They do this with like a saddle interior. It's not like a cognac, so it doesn't have like a hue of red in it. It's more like that old Mercedes-Benz interior color, like Palomino. And there, you notice what the designers were going for here. You notice that they were trying to separate this out from lesser three-row crossovers in the Toyota world. So things just feel a bit better here. However, I would argue one really needs the different color because black doesn't do it justice. Okay, so what have you and I learned today? Well, this, a boring practical vehicle, believe it or not, is not that boring. It's actually quite good with a catch. You see, every day of the week, twice on Sunday, I would always choose a CX-90 over this, but that has the problem of packaging space. This one trounces the CX-90 in terms of practicality in an area. The Mazda, it's more of a driver's vehicle, which makes me think, okay, Palisade Telluride. Those might look fancier, but this drives so much better. That brings us to the wish list. And here, a direct request for Kevin Hunter and his team at the Calty Design Studios, Ann Arbor, Michigan, as well as down in Southern California, which is where they did a lot of work on this car. How about some more color on the inside? You've made this a better looking vehicle, and the inside's a bit more playful, but it's ruined with only really 2 or 3 colors. How about more choices and then more trim pieces? Not looking to make it more expensive. Don't make it fancy, because the kind of folks that are going to buy this, they're deliberately saying no to a $60,000 like GLE 350 because they want more vehicle. They're buying this by the pound, not by the ounce. But I am one man, and this is the point of the episode that I turn around to you guys to opine in the comments below or via our social media. MotoMan TV all word, MotoMan TV all word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, if you got value out of this episode, I would greatly appreciate you sharing them with all your friends and doing all the YouTube things. Subscribe, notifications, and of course, click the like button. Until I see you in the next episode, that will most likely not be in paradise. Bis später.